right, what's up, guys? Martin, what's happening, man? What's been going on with your training? Because I saw some videos through the week. I saw one video of you there in Metroflex sweating your absolute ass off, looking damn impressive. It's actually the most impressive physique update I've seen from you. So what's happening? How's the prep going?
Yeah, man, it's just chipping away day by day. We've had a couple low days, been 3 low days in a row now, and just trying to grind through. Strength hasn't dropped or anything like that. So really, it's kind of just seeing what's going to make me go flat. I haven't gone flat yet, and or a flat-ish, but I haven't gone like flat. So kind of seeing where my body is there, and everything's moving as good as it can be, man. I honestly probably in as good, if not better shape than what I was on stage at Texas with 5 more weeks to go. So there's no question that I'll be my best ever. And really, like, things have just kicked up. So finally went to 7 days of cardio, just 20 minutes, 7 days. But do that. Branch is actually like looking at me in person every single morning now because my body's changing very quickly. So everything's just kind of coming together, man. So that was last week after a couple low days. After this, we ran some high days, filled back out over the weekend, and depleted now for the last couple of days, and then probably fill back up over the weekend again with Branch looking at me in the morning. The lighting kind of sucks over here, but I'm weighing like between, depending if it's highs and lows. I'm waking up anywhere from 243 to 248, somewhere in there. I think I'll probably be on stage around 240. So just kind of just trying to play the game, man. Just see what we can do and have as much fun as we can.
What's your height, bro?
5'7".
Yeah, nice. 240 is good, man, because you'll be in really good condition, and obviously your waist and everything's really tight. How hard is it training out there, like sweating your ass off like that, and still, like, obviously, not flattening out in some ways? Because obviously, like, when you're sweating that much, you've obviously got to replace those electrolytes as well. So do you ever get like cramping issues or anything like that training in that sort of heat?
I mean, because I'm prepared for it, no, but if I wouldn't have had Branch and stuff to kind of get things rolling for me and kind of show me how to make sure that I'm hydrating and stuff, I probably would have. But I drink a Gatorade first thing in the morning, the Gatorade Zero, and I also drink Gatorade Zero post-training. By the time I train, I've got at least a gallon of water in. I drink another liter or so while I train, and then I'm usually drink somewhere between a gallon to a gallon and a half post-training. So, I mean, you definitely have to drink more, but it's easy to drink more here, so it's not that bad. And I definitely think that it's helping with condition as well, because I'm depleting myself to the absolute max and then filling back out throughout the day. So it's working, man. I love it.
Yeah, awesome. And Nathan, how you been? I saw the feedback from the first episode. No one else is allowed to have a podcast, apparently.
Yeah, fuck them. Fuck them. I don't give a fuck, bro. You know me. Obviously, everyone's entitled to their opinion nowadays. So give them their opinion. Doesn't mean I give a fuck. But so obviously, I believe that we bring something different. So it's a forum, it's a platform for people to speak up on. If that was the case, then fucking Joe Rogan would be fucking suing everybody, right?
Yeah.
It's just fucking. I got a lot of positive. I think we got a lot of positive feedback off it anyway. That's the main thing. If people want to fucking bitch about it and don't like it, don't fucking watch it. Simple as that.
I'll say like probably 90% of the actual feedback was really positive, and people were like, don't listen to the negative guys and all that sort of stuff. So it's cool to see, like, there's always going to be division, man. I knew it was going to be like, some people were going to, obviously be big fans of Fouad and men think these guys are going against them, they're competitors, they're, all that sort of stuff. So I knew that was going to happen. I was going to be a narrative no matter what, because we've got 3 guys that used to be sponsored by or with Hostile. And I think people just want to start that drama a little bit. And no doubt that it will continue on for a little bit, but then eventually it will die out when people sort of discover that these podcasts are, they obviously have similarities, but everyone's sort of copied everyone over the years. Like, I did a podcast years ago now, and because I had a few people say, oh, you're just copying or you're doing this. And people say about me doing my channel with Nick Strength and Power, and I get that sort of all the time, but it doesn't bother me. But I used to do a podcast years ago, and it was called Aussie After Hours, and it was actually a lot more like Fouad's podcast is now than this one actually is, to be honest, because we used to talk about a lot of off-topic stuff, but we'd still sprinkle the bodybuilding in there. And we do almost the exact same format where we chat for a bit at the start, then listen to questions, and then we'd be talking about all sorts of stuff. And people would love it, man. It was one of those ones, but it just got a bit hectic, I think, at the time with everyone in comments and, you know, I mean, all the back and forth that can go on. But I think this one's, a little bit different again. And I think that this is going to continue to grow.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, brother. Fingers crossed, man. Yeah,
man, for sure. So I'm very happy with the feedback, and thanks to everyone as well that actually supported the show, because it does mean a lot and means a lot to me. And it means a lot to me that you guys are able to or willing to come on this show and do this as well. But we had the Orlando Pro over this past weekend, and we had Hassan Mustafa winning that one again. I'll bring up some photos while we're talking in a minute as well. And he takes it out, but there wasn't a huge amount of coverage of his show. There's no live stream. So I was going to wake up in the night, which I normally do over here, cover the show, you know, do a prejudging report, do a finals report. I woke up and really there's nothing to report on because all you'd see is iPhone photos. So it was rough. But what did you think about it? I'll go to you first, Martin. What do you think about Hassan Mustafa winning it from at least what you've seen?
Yeah, man. I mean, he deserved it from what it looks like. Again, my only critique on the guy is he got to work on his posing. I feel like you shouldn't be winning shows when you're not the best poser up there, and he's clearly not the best poser up there, but his physique is insane. He brought the condition, and that's, again, what's winning shows right now. Be peeled, have enough muscle to stand next to the other guys, and you're going to win. You don't need to be the biggest guy, but you need to be peeled, and you need to have the shape. So, you know, him showing that gives me even more hope. He was like 234, I think they said on stage at Orlando. And he's about the same height as me. So if I could be 240, and hopefully I'm going to be perfecting my posing as hard as I can the next 5 weeks, to hopefully bring a package similar to that, maybe even more condition. So, you know, right there is clear as day, shows his conditioning. You know, it was very, very good. And the other guys that he stood with were very, very good as well. So, you know, Pressy was also in very good condition. I think Hassan just out-muscled him. And who was third? Phil Kahar was third, right?
I believe Phil was third. Yeah, I believe Phil Clark was third. I'll bring some photos up of as well.
Phil's conditioning is incredible too. Again, I think Hassan probably just out-muscled him. Phil's a little bit taller. And so I feel like, you know, Hassan was just right there on point, and he was dry.
Yeah,
that's what really did it for him, man. So, you know, props to him. He deserved it. And it's really cool to see. You know, I've always been one to say I think it's awesome when guys go win a couple shows and really prove that they're the baddest dude on the planet. I think it's bullshit when people make the crybaby statements like they're stealing Olympia qualification or they're getting greedy with money or stuff like that. Hey, man, this is our living. This is our job. So go win as many as you can, man. Props to him. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I think it's ridiculous. Like, I think because the prize money is not as high as, you know, obviously comparative to how it used to be, because it's used to be the same 15, 20 years ago, that people are like, oh, no, you should let other people, you know, jump in and get qualifications. It's like, why? If they're not good enough to win a show or qualify in points and you're going to beat them, then so be it, you know, because back in the day we had, you know, all the Flex Wheelers, all those sorts of guys doing plenty of shows. Sean Ray was one guy that sort of sat out and did mostly just the Olympia and did the Arnold a few times. But, you know, all these guys used to do those European tours that do shows around the Arnold and stuff as well. And I think that was probably a lot more exciting. We've seen you do it, Nathan. You've done a string of shows over there in Europe plenty of times, and you've competed a lot. And man, I love to see that because it's exciting for the fans. But I understand when guys don't do as many shows because it's not as fruitful when you don't have promoters flying you in and all that sort of stuff. Because if all your expenses were paid for, and, you know, for the top guys that are competing in certain shows, and the prize money was 20 grand instead of 10, I mean, you imagine going doing 5 shows and potentially, you know, Nathan, for you could potentially win all 5. That's 100 grand plus your expenses paid, you know?
I think a lot of the guys, though, you know, giving the promoters credit, a lot of the top guys do get flights and accommodation paid for.
Oh, I do?
You know, yeah, man. If cool. You know, if I let's say, for example, like I was doing, the Prague this year or something, I ain't doing the show. I had no intention on doing the show, but then, can you do the show? There's this much money in it. We'll pay for the flight and accommodation. A lot of the top guys get paid for, because if they can bring the money in for the crowd, then yeah. So depending on the lineup, if the lineup isn't the deepest and they believe, with that lineup they can't sell all the tickets, then obviously, people get on the phone and make phone calls and, can you do this for me? If you're in shape, can you do this for me? And you get your accommodation paid for a lot of the time. Look, guys say they don't, but you actually do, or your sponsors anyway pay for that shit. So it is, except like flights are paid for depending like on your contract terms, and if you're smart with it, you know what I mean. If you brand yourself in a certain way, and you give everyone a bit of shit, and people are there, people want to see it, promoters want you there, and you can get it out of them. Obviously, it's like myself. Say I ain't going to a show, pay my flight and accommodation. Shit, I'll jump on if it's a week after my last show. But obviously, again, that's not every show, but most of them do that.
Oh, that's cool. That's good to hear, because I thought that a lot of the time these days it didn't sort of really happen as much. I think maybe back in the day it was a little bit easier, because I'd hear that, it was sort of almost like a given. Like if you're a top 5 sort of guy, going into that particular show, or top 3 or top 4, then you pretty much almost be guaranteed to have all your stuff paid for. Like if you're one of those top names,
it's a lot more outside. And I think it's, I think it comes down to a lot of the guys aren't even in the top 5, but who have good following, they'll get theirs posted and paid for and stuff. Plus every sponsors, and if you hustle your contract right and you go over it and you say, look, in your contract you'll have to compete 4 times a year. Okay, well, in the 4 times, you pay for the flights, you pay for the accommodation. Cool. Obviously, you have to pay for your supplements and stuff, but if they pay for the flights, then that's why I say to everyone, we should compete. We should do, but like a lot of the guys, and you see a lot of the shows now, the lineups are not that deep. And for certain guys, it isn't worth getting them lineups because, for example, like, let's look up at Hassan. Yeah, he got a check. It was good. He got some money for him and his family. But the talk is, I'll be open with it. Who was in the show? Who was in it? And it comes down to who was in it. You have people saying, oh, okay, can you get top 5, top 6 Olympia? Well, guess what? There's only 6 in the top 6. And every time some motherfucker wins a show, it's, oh, can you get top 6? That's all you have everyone else. And I'm saying, stop talking shit, man. It's only 6 or 5 in top 5, isn't it? Or 6. But for me, I can't compare it. I can't say, it was an easy win. I can't say, yeah, he looked great, because he did. But when you put him next to a guy who is an Olympian, how will he look then? It's different, no disrespect to the guys on the weekend, but you know yourself, the lineups are nowhere near as deep right now. And I could probably do a fucking 3-week diet, jump in and win anyway. But we could, like if you look at Martin, the condition he's in now, if he was fucking probably drop his carbs a little bit, up the cardio, and pull a few things, he probably could have won that show, But then if you asked him, would you do that show in a New York pro lineup 3 or 4 years ago, same condition, he'd tell you no. So the lineups are dropping off because a lot of people are doing this whole just doing the Olympia thing. And for me, I personally think only the top 3 in the Olympia should get a buy for the top 3. Yeah, and I believe we should only go there on a fucking win. I don't believe in points. That's just my thing, because I don't want to go there on points, because let's be honest, if you go there on points, you ain't getting looked at. You may think you're at, but your black ass or your white ass just get them to the back of the queue, mate. Do you know what I mean? If you can't win someone in the qualifier, you ain't gonna win them in the Olympia without sounding being a pain in the ass. But good on him. He won the show. He looked fucking great. Working with AJ, I think that's the best thing for him. But you can see a few improvements that needs to be made. Like Martin said, there's posing. He can't hold the pose for longer than fucking 5 seconds. 4 seconds, and he's gassing. Now, if you come to the Olympia, mate, and you go next to him, it's like myself, Martin, Nick Walker. That pose just gets held with the first in and with the last out. If you start dropping it, then obviously you start sweating, you start pouting, and then you start leaking. You're just going down the grid,
Yeah, and when you can't hold your midsection as well, like if you start breathing through your midsection heavily on like a front double bicep, it just doesn't look good. Like Martin, in that video that I saw of you, you're obviously training in Texas. Like you were trying to control that midsection breathing, and it was obviously hard because you were sweating your absolute ass off, and you won't be posing in those conditions on stage. But if you completely let it go and just breathe through that midsection on a front double, it just doesn't look good, and you can see the person struggling. And you almost don't want to look at that competitor as much. You know, if you've got some guy like Nick Walker who will stand there, or you, Nathan, or you, Martin, when you're on stage as well, hitting that front double bicep and just locking it in and, you know, just looking super confident, your eyes are drawn to them automatically because they've got that level of confidence. But you see someone struggling up there and you don't want to look at them. You almost just want to mark them down and just like, okay, I'll look over here to the guy that's confident and looks great, you know? So, Martin, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's just to tap on that. I mean, obviously, like I said, Hassan deserved to win. But like Nathan said, I mean, that's exactly why I'm doing Texas Pro, because I know that there's going to be heavy hitters there, and I don't want to win a show where people go, oh, well, Marty got an Olympia qualification because it was an easy lineup. No, I'm going to go make sure that I beat some Olympians so that I can prove myself and really prove it to myself more than anything that I'm capable of this. But then to go into that further is like Nathan said, man, I'm running 3-4 rounds of posing every single day. I'm holding every pose for 15 to 20 seconds. And by the third or fourth round, I'm dying and I want to crawl out of my own skin and I'm cussing at Branch because I hate him so bad. But that's what you do. And you saw it. There's a puddle of sweat on the floor. I do that every single day. But at the end of the tunnel, I know that if I do that every day and the other guys don't, I'm gonna whip their ass on stage because I'll be able to hold that thing like a statue and they can't. So, you know, those little finer details is what's gonna be the difference between winning a show and having guys talk about you being top 5 at the Olympia, like Nathan's talking about.
Yeah, it's like Nathan said, like everyone who wins a show now, their name automatically gets thrown into that top. Will he be top 6 in the Olympia? Which is, you know, I ask questions all the time on my channel, like, can this dude do this? Can he do this? And then I sort of let, you know, people in the comments sort of discuss it, which sort of creates conversation, which I really like. But yeah, sometimes like saying like Hassan, like, will he be top 5? I've heard that conversation and I just don't see it this year. Like you said, the posing needs work. You know, getting that balance between that really sharp conditioning and his level of fullness and mass as well. Like if he can nail that down with some of the fullness of last year, obviously he might have to sacrifice a little bit of that to bring it in razor sharp. But I feel like maybe he went a little bit further towards the conditioning. So if he can sort of nail both of those, and now that his body's actually been in that level of condition, I feel like it might be easier the second time while holding a little bit more mass. But I just don't know if that's going to be a top 5 or top 6 physique at the Olympia, just because of the structural flaws as well, like the more narrow shoulders and slightly wider hips. I think it might just hold him back a little bit, but if he can bring it in really, really tight, bring the midsection in a little bit more, pose a little bit better, and just bring his all-time best, then I think for sure he can get a top 10. But top 6, I think, is maybe just not maybe for this year. Because Nathan, I've seen you obviously on that Olympia stage when you came 7th, I think it was. Man, you were like bursting full, in great condition. Your waist was super tiny. Like everything just sort of came together perfectly.
That was a hard 7. That was a hard 7 as well, bro. Phil was in that lineup.
Yeah, man. But that was very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. And I was a huge fan of you back then. Obviously, I didn't know you at all. But I remember actually watching and being like, man, this guy has the physique that I want to see back on the Olympia stage, you know, because you pull into that front double bicep and there's no waist there, man. Like it goes right in and the lats come out. And some people say, oh, Nathan's got high lats or whatever. But man, I actually like that look. I'd rather that than seeing a guy with a blown out midsection. And for whatever reason, sometimes that gets rewarded more.
Just got to play to your advantages, bro. That's it, you know. We're all born with structural flaws, but you just got to work with it. You know, there's nothing you can do about incisions. People think, oh, you can train this way. Listen, if it's put there, it ain't fucking moving. And that's the bottom line. It's like saying you can do so much to your fucking cock, but if it's small, it's small. It ain't changing, you know what I mean? Well, you've got to work to advantages. And I just wait for me, like I know for a fact on the stage, front double and front lats spread, no one that line can beat me. Nobody. They're my poses. So fucking from the back is different. From the front, I eat everyone fucking live on them ones. So that's why I hit it a lot when I'm in it. I smile because I know it's fucking at that time, you know, it's giving me the advantage. So you just gotta work with what you've got. And you know, the fullness, I had it. and then I lost it, and now obviously it's come back again. Just learn my body, different things, but hopefully this year it's back, bro. I hope.
Yeah. Do you think it's harder or easier having a fast metabolism competing in bodybuilding? Like, because obviously your metabolism is crazy fast. Do you think it'd actually be easier if it was, I suppose, your metabolism
No,
was slightly
Martin
slower?
knows it's harder because the amount of food I've got to consume it's taking the piss. Like for me, when I'm dieting, and me like a basic meal for me, even like 3 weeks out, would be like 350 grams of cooked weight of rice and 200 grams of chicken. You know, and you go to like nutritional value, that's 75. That's 82 grams of carbohydrates per fucking meal, if I'm correct in it.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of food per meal, and you're putting that in 7 meals a day. It's a fucking, you know, by the end of the day, my stomach's huge as fuck, and then put water in, you know, 8 to 10 liters in that a day because I'm in Kuwait and it's hot. Bro, it looks like I've got fucking 6 or 7 kids coming out, and that's just to lose weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
From
crazy.
what I know, it's an advantage because off season we get to eat a lot of shit, but then you know it's also a disadvantage because you have to put the food in.
Yeah, for sure. I want to bring up one thing as well. I did a video the other day, and it's just a bodybuilding news video. I'd seen some videos of Ramy going up of him training, and I put, you know, I always put a question mark just to, you know, it was obviously a little bit of clickbait saying, Big Ramy, is he small or something like question mark or something along those lines. Man, people freaked out about that. And I saw Generation Iron did an article. I saw Dennis James, who I love Dennis James. He did a video with Big Ramy, actually, I think on his Instagram live saying, he said, are people saying you're small, but he's apparently 335 pounds. But some of the videos I saw, he wasn't looking absolutely enormous. He was just in a t-shirt, so you can't really tell too much from that. And he's a slightly taller guy than some of them as well. And I've seen videos since where he actually does look absolutely enormous. But I want to sort of admit I was a little bit wrong on that one because I've seen the recent videos and I don't know what he's doing, but he's definitely adding size.
He's always big, bro. That motherfucker is always big, always big.
He's very wide too, man, across the shoulders. Because I remember seeing him at the Olympia Expo, would have been back in 2016, maybe something around there, at the Olympia. And I just remember seeing him walking through, and in person, you sort of don't get to see and I mean, not in person, like seeing photos and videos, you don't really get to notice how wide someone is, like shoulder wise.
Yeah.
And he is wide, man. Like I was surprised. I was sort of standing a little bit taller than him, but he was so wide. And the same as like Jay Cutler, when I saw him out in Australia doing a guest posing back in, that was like 10 years before this. It was like 2006 or 2007 or something. I just remember seeing him backstage and being like, who's this fat dude walking past in posing trunks, and just being like, oh no, that's Jay, because he's just so wide. I was like, that can't be muscle, you know, that can't be someone's width. So you really get to appreciate that in person. But yeah, Ramy is so crazy wide that, yeah, maybe photos, in certain photos when he's not posing, he doesn't look as big, but yeah, he definitely looks massive. And I stand corrected based off what I said in that video, saying potentially he's smaller, because I was assuming he obviously did Ramadan as well, where you can't eat and drink during daylight hours. Which is crazy, obviously, for someone his size, but obviously he's got such supreme genetics that it doesn't really seem to even matter to him. But do people do that over there in Kuwait, Nathan?
With Ramadan?
Yeah,
they do it, bro. A lot more strict over there, you know. But I think if you're an athlete, I think there's certain rules. I think like the things you can do, you know, like depending on like if you're an athlete or your job or stuff. But a lot of guys do it. And it's hard as shit. I tried it for 1 day, 2 days. I failed both times. So fuck that shit. Like it's not for me. Wake up, don't eat, brush your teeth, don't drink no water, and it's just hot as hell. I'm like, nah, fuck that. I just cheated, and I pretended I didn't cheat, and then I thought, fuck it, I can't do it again.
Yeah.
So I quit. No, if I know I can't do something, I'm not gonna do it. You know.
Yeah. My old barber, he used to do it, and he used to work all through the day, like standing on his feet all day, cutting hair, not eating or drinking anything. And I was actually prepping this guy as well, and I'm helping out with his diet. And I was like, okay, well, this is what we've got to do. So as soon as that sun goes down, you're eating this, you're having electrolytes, you're doing this. Like there's so many things we did to try to get his training in and get his food in, but it's just like then sleep just gets cut out. So it's not particularly healthy. But it sounds cool, at least in terms of a family aspect, like, cause, you know, it seems like every night they have a massive feast, and so that would sort of be cool. But it's definitely not healthy, the drinking part of it. Like if you could drink, I think it'd make a huge difference and be a lot
easy, right? Be easy. I think it comes down to like you know, just willpower. But I think after you've done it so many times, it's piss easy, I think.
Yeah. Have you ever had to do that with like a lot of fasting with operations or anything? Because I've done it. Like my dog bit my hand like years ago, and my hand swelled up so much and got infected that they're like, we've got to flush this out and put you under and make sure there's no structural damage, because I couldn't move my hand at all. It was so swollen. And I was like lined up for surgery. I think it was like 5 nights in a row. And they're like, you got to fast, you know, not drink any water.
What's it called? Fucking nil by mouth, is it?
What's that?
Yeah, it's called, in the UK, it's called nil by mouth. But yeah,
call that fasting.
I still eat, bro. Fuck that. I ain't gonna die, am I? What the hell? It's like saying, imagine it was in a car crash or you got shot or something happened. I'm not gonna say, oh, when was the last time you ate 10 hours ago, Ardy? Fuck that. So just eat. There's a fucking difference. I just ate my dinner.
Well, I like the person who I was dating at the time, I was like, I've got bumped from surgery. Can you please bring me food? So she'd be bringing in like Macca's or McDonald's, KFC, whatever I could eat basically and drink. So I was smashing that down. And then once they actually, like was eating food and I was just smashing it all down. They said, oh, stop eating it this time. And I was like, okay. And it was an hour afterwards. I was like, oh, it's all fine. And then the woman came in and she just looked at me. She's like, oh, you're eating. Oh, we'll have to bump you back a bit. And I was like, no. And I actually got bumped from surgery that day or something because of it, because it was an hour later. And I was just like, no, I'm like, it's fine. And nah, she freaked out and basically took that away from me, unfortunately. But let's discuss this upcoming contest, which is this weekend, the Portugal Pro, also known as the Mr. Big Evolution show, which I always find to be like a hilarious name. Have you done this show before, Nathan?
No, I've not done Portugal, no.
Yeah.
Is that done with the stage turns around, isn't it?
I don't know if it's that one or not. I don't actually think it's that show, but it might be that one. I can't quite remember. I know it's the one that what's his name with the really big legs, Egyptian dude, not Big Ramy, Moshe Ban. I think he won whatever show it was, but he won that time to qualify for his first Olympia.
That's it.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, it turns around.
Yeah, so this must be the one with the epic stage production. I don't know how much they spend, but I know that Monsters in Pro, they've spent obviously huge amounts on stage production in the past. I remember seeing you compete at that one, Nathan, and like it was like, you know, when you were walking out, they have that huge screen you walk through and it says Nathan the Asha on it. I was like, that was epic. These guys do an awesome job as well. But here's the competitor list. You got Morgan Asti, you got Tim Budesheim, some names to stick out: Peter Clancia, Andrea Musi, you got Andrea Presti on there as well, Fabio Rombaganello. I'm terrible at pronouncing that. Then you got Vlad Sukarochku as well. Ton of actually really good European names and a lot of guys that are pretty even on this list as well. So it seems like it's definitely not one of those shows where you're going to know who's going to win it, which is actually really, really cool to see. So does any names stick out for you in particular straight off the bat, Nathan?
Well, I train with Vlad when I'm in Kuwait, so obviously I've got to support Vlad. The kid's big anyway. So no Vlad, Sem, both Andreas, and Peter and Tim Morgan. That's it. A few of the guys I don't know. Number 13, number 11. I'm not even going to fucking try and pronounce them. I'll say the fucking number.
Yeah.
It's pointless. It's pointless, right? So I'm not going to try it. But yeah, I've got an idea who I think's going to win it. Yeah, it'd be a good show because they're all even par. Yeah.
There's a lot of guys on the same sort of level. I found this in pro bodybuilding the last sort of like 2 years, especially. There's a lot of guys that are much closer than it used to be. Because I remember a lot of smaller shows, even you go, oh, okay, well, this guy's probably going to win. This guy will maybe challenge him. And then you've sort of got like, okay, these guys are 3 to 6 or so. And then you've got the rest of the guys. Now it's so even. Like sometimes I've seen top 10s in contests where I'm like, I remember the New York Pro actually a couple of years ago where Antoine Vaillant, he placed 7th, and then you had Quentin Arai in 8th, and you had a whole bunch of guys ahead of him. And most of those guys went on to compete the next weekend or the weekend after. And Antoine actually won in Cali. And it was like, that's how close it was. He just improved a bit, filled out a little bit more, and he went from 7th to 1st. So that's, I think it's sort of a reflection, and that's how it sort of is and how it's going to be in this show as well. So let's bring up a few of these names, break it down, and then we'll give our predictions. So Vlad, as you mentioned, that you trained with him a bit out in Kuwait, he's looking absolutely ridiculous. He looks huge right now. He's a guy that's sort of, I think, a little bit underrated. just based on, I suppose, the publicity he gets, because he is a huge dude, comes in really good condition, hasn't got like the shape of like either of you guys, but I mean, he's just one of those European guys that is absolutely massive, and he doesn't have a bad shape. It's not like he's got a blown out midsection or anything like that.
Yeah.
But Nathan, how do you see this guy going? Obviously, you have a bit of insight into Vlad and all that sort of stuff.
I think Vlad will win it, mate. I think it'll be close between Vlad and Tim. Obviously, you know, I train with Vlad and I know Tim well. I'd like to see them both win, but I think Vlad will just outmuscle Tim, outmuscle him slightly. That's how close it's going to be, I think. You know, but Tim's got a nicer physique. He's been in the sauna there. Don't worry about that. Yeah, I think Vlad should take it. I'm hoping so anyway. So he's not to do any more shows. The kids, you know, it was good team oxygen and stuff. So fingers crossed he can come home with the win.
Yeah, he's only 25 too, right? Or 26?
Yeah, 25, I think, 26.
He's young. He's young as like me.
Yeah, super young. So he says here, morning check without pump. I face threw him away. Weight on empty stomach is 124 kilos or 273 pounds at 1.5 weeks out. So obviously, yeah, a big kid for sure. How tall is he, Nathan?
Well, 5'11", they told me.
Yeah. So yeah, 273 pounds, like obviously, regardless, that's heavy weight to be 1.5 weeks out. But you know, I thought he might be 6 foot or taller with that sort of weight, but he's got a lot of muscle on his physique, and I think that he's only improving. And I think that, you know, at times he's been slightly overlooked, and I think that he's slightly underrated. And when I actually saw this photo go up, I'm like, that looks like Steve Kuklo. Like it really is, like resembles him, you know. But yeah, I think he's definitely going to be a contender for the win, no doubt. The next guy, Morgan Asti, I don't know if he's put up any recent physique updates. He's got a huge amount of muscle, this guy. Like he is 300 and something pounds on stage, doesn't have the best structure. It seems like by these photos, I don't know if this is from 2 weeks ago. It's hard to sort of see a little bit. But I remember his last show, he got really penalized. He was down in like 14th place or something like that. He's still in great condition, but I think it's more just the structure, and the midsection was out a little bit. Do you think this guy can sort of, you know, beat people just by being overly freaky? What's your thoughts, Martin?
Yeah, man, he'll probably sneak into the top 5 just purely based off of condition. This dude gets insane peeled. He did the Arnold 2 years ago, I think. Yep. And he was the most peeled guy on the stage, in my opinion. But structurally, this dude is like 6'3". He's like you said, like 300 and some pounds on stage, and it still ain't big enough to have him have crazy good shape. So he's never going to beat the guys that are in peeled and have good shape, but he's an impressive guy, dude. I mean, if I was him, I would probably be a strong man because he's just a fucking monster.
Yeah, or an actor or something like that, man, playing those roles of like the villains and stuff. Because, yeah, like you said, he's an absolute monster. And I think that guys like that, like him, like Jamie Christian, the Giant, all those sorts of guys, but I think they have massive potential of moving into like acting and things like that, and playing almost like the Martin Ford role that he does in some movies, because, you know, they had that sort of look. So I reckon Morgan Asti should, you know, stay pretty big and go into that sort of thing. But yeah, I think he can do pretty well as long as the midsection is tight enough and his conditioning is absolutely ridiculous. Nathan, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, bro, it's fucking, like I said, like Martin said, physique isn't the greatest. He gets in shape, but for me, it's just off. It's a little bit off-putting. I like the guy. He's fucking, what he's doing on the sides is amazing, but, you know, to criticize him, the physique's just, it's not there compared to the guys who are smaller, you know? Yeah. You know, you look at him, even though he's fucking huge, his legs still look fucking small as shit. He's like another fucking 15-pound on, but the guys are fucking giants as well, though. But then when you see him in real life, they're just huge. But because he's so big, it doesn't look big on pictures. You know what I mean? But the guy is a fucking freak of nature.
Yeah, because you look at him here on the front double bicep. This is 3 weeks out, and you know you can still see. Okay, you can add a lot of more muscle on those lats from the front. You can add more to the arms, and you add more to the legs, and you go. But the dude is 315 pounds, so you sort of feel bad for him in a way. But he does look better because this is show day last year, and this is 3 weeks out this year. So it seems like he's definitely filled out a little bit more and
Yeah.
is a little bit more separated too. So I think that he might do a little bit better than 14th, which he did, I think, in this show as well. Next guy we'll discuss is Peter Clancy. Guy got a lot of hype. I believe he competed. I don't know which shot was actually in now, but he looked pretty damn good, but was just a little bit behind those top guys. What do you think about Peter Clancy, Nathan? And do you think that he can sort of potentially win this show?
If this was fucking Peter from like 4 years back, he wouldn't even be in the show. He'd just walk it.
Yeah.
You know, from the Peter what we've seen prior to this, okay, he's still big, he's still good, but the last show he's struggling with his condition. He's big, you see there, he's just not conditioned enough. Do you know what I mean? And will the condition come in? Because if you look back to his picture, you know, a couple of days out, he still looks fucking large, but the condition's just not there to where you look back at Vlad and it's a different look. Do you know what I mean? The skin's different, and they're doing the same show. So, you know, Peter predominantly out of all these guys now has the best shape by far, the best shape, best structure. Can he put it together? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be put it together enough to actually win it. Did I ask your opinion, Martin, on Peter?
Oh man, I mean, I haven't seen Peter in person ever. He's very impressive in pictures, but he just doesn't seem to show up on show day. So like Nathan said, the shape, the detail, I mean, it's all there. He's just got to show up right on the day. And I just don't think he's peeled enough to beat Vlad or Tim, because I do think, just like Nathan said, I think both those guys are going to be out of this world peeled. And he'll be up there though. I definitely think he's going to be fighting with him.
Yeah, I think check us out in the language here. First word, training. That's amazing. I wonder what a word actually means. All right, next guy we're talking about. Oh, that's you, Martin. Next guy we're talking about is Andrea Muzzi. This guy, he seems to, like, every time I see a pre-contest photo of this guy, he looks like he's going to potentially be the winner of shows. But it's for whatever reason, when he gets on stage, I can't even put my finger on it as to why he's, you know, not winning these shows. I don't know if it's when he stands next to others, he doesn't look quite as impressive. Because when you see some photos, he looks absolutely next level. I think you've competed against him, Nathan. What's your thoughts on Andrea Muzzi?
Yeah, he said Yamamoto. Spoke to him in Italy a few weeks back. The guy's good. He just I don't think they figured out how to peak him right, because when you see him in person, you know, except the pictures don't do him justice. He's actually in shape a lot of the time. You know, he's shredded. Something just goes wrong a lot. I don't know, his last 2 days, last day, I don't know, but shit just seems to go wrong for him. And that's obviously down to his coaching, you know, hit and miss. But if he can put it together, like I said, you know, he's gonna be fighting for it, because look there, the physique tells for itself. It's nice.
Yeah, it's a very good physique, and the conditioning never seems bad. And I don't know if it's just, like maybe like a slight lack of fullness, like maybe they try to dry out too much, may lose a bit of that pop. I'm not 100% sure, but I am a massive fan of him, and I do think maybe he's been slightly overlooked at some stages. But yeah, I think it's just a slight peaking thing for him, because he's got a huge amount of potential, and I think he can definitely get to the Olympia stage, whether it's this year or another year, even via a win or points, because I can definitely see that physique being rewarded at some point. Martin, what's your thoughts on Andrea?
Super impressive, man. He just got to put it all together. If he showed up peeled, like lights out, with fullness, I think he could definitely win a show, like you said. Do I think he's going to put it together this weekend? I don't feel like they've got it close enough yet to see that happen. Even Puerto Rico was still, I felt like he was either really flat to where he looked watery, or they overfed him to where he looked watery. Because he probably could have been in second or even pushed Hassan there. But he just wasn't on. So we got to see him dial it in. But like Nathan said, I mean, the physique is there, man. I actually really, really like this guy's physique. He's got the decent arms and shoulders with the crazy quads and a good waist. You know, that's kind of what I like to see in bodybuilders, at least.
Yeah, I remember early days, or maybe like a couple of years ago, predicting this guy to do really well in some shows because no one was talking about him. I don't know if it was his pro debut or what it was, but I was like, yes, this guy's going to do amazingly well. I'm going to look like a genius. And I think he came in like 6th or 7th or something. I was like, damn, like that was sort of like my thing to, my dark horse call. But yeah, very impressive physique, and I hope he does well. Another Andrea Presti's added his name to the lineup. He's really, I mean, for a guy that has legs that I'd say are behind his upper body, he does amazingly well. So if he can bring his legs up a little bit more, Andrea Presti is going to be, taking out shows. I wouldn't say with ease, but he's going to be taking out a lot more of these shows rather than getting 2nd and 3rd. So this is 5 days out of Portugal, looking pretty damn impressive. I think the shoulder structure and just the overall structure of his physique carries him a long way.
Smaller though.
He does look a little bit small, but I actually said this, Nathan, about him. I think it was before one of the last shows he did. And I said, oh, I'm a bit concerned. Or maybe I was going to do a preview or I was thinking it, but I think I put it in a video and said that he's looking a little bit maybe undersized and might not do as well. And then he went and got 2nd and beat a lot of guys that I thought he wouldn't. So I think they really deplete and then they fill up, because every time I see the photos from 5 days out and a week out, I always say the same thing about him. I said he looks a little bit flat and a little bit small, but the legs obviously do need to come up for him to be winning shows with ease. But I think just his overall structure carries him a fair way. But I'll go with you first, Martin. What do you think about Andrea Presti, and can he win the show?
I mean, honestly, man, I think personally, I think that it's him, Vlad, or Tim that is going to win this show. If he wins, it's going to come down to his conditioning beat everybody, because he's not going to be the biggest guy. Vlad is for sure going to beat him on size. But as far as him being impressive, man, he's an awesome bodybuilder. His shape is bonkers. He's got those really awesome lats that come out and make his V-taper good. And he knows how to pose his legs, even though they are smaller. He knows how to pose them, like kicking that knee out to make them at least look somewhat balanced. I think this guy goes and puts on 5 to 7 pounds, mostly on his lower body. And this dude walks away with a lot of these European shows pretty handily, because he gets in nasty condition. They know how to peak him very well. He's been peaked multiple times now, very good. So it's just a matter of time for him. But for him, no matter what, he could win a show this year. But for him to do well at the Olympia, those legs got to come up. So really, it doesn't matter, in my opinion.
For sure. The way he hits that front double bicep, you almost, I reckon, in a way, if he's there in person, you almost wouldn't notice the legs, because it's the structure so impressive. But yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. The way he poses and everything is very complimentary. Nathan, do you think he can win this show?
Yeah, but I think Vlad or Tim was going to outdo him just this time. Like I said, a lot of time with Andres, when he does show after show after show, he seems to just like degrade a little bit, even like a week or two after. You know, it's always a second show is normally the best showing. So it's gonna be tight. But I'll be the different one. I'll say it's the other Andrea who'll get 3rd.
Yeah. Next guy. This guy actually does a lot better in shows than I think his pre-contest photos maybe suggest. He's another Yamamoto athlete as well, Nathan. And it's Fabio, I'm terrible with his last name, Romagnolo, which is totally wrong, no doubt. But he's got a huge structure as well. He's actually a lot like an Andrea Presti. While he's not as blessed, I'd say, structure-wise, he does have those sort of wide shoulders, and when he opens up, he looks impressive, and he does come in ultra shredded. So he does have a lot of similarities to like an Andrea Presti. So I'm interested to see these guys side by side, just to see if this Fabio can actually match up. Do you think he can, Nathan?
No. I don't think he's fighting for top 5. He's probably the best he can be, but I wouldn't put him in the top 5 spot. No way.
Yeah, for sure. I understand that. For sure. He's made some actual huge improvements compared to what he used to be. I remember he put up a before and after a while ago, and I was like, wow, this guy's gained a lot of muscle in 1 year. So if he fills out this physique, maybe he can actually do a lot better than I suppose a lot of people would be thinking he can do. Martin, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he just looks like he needs to gain about 20, 25 pounds of muscle, man. Legs are definitely undersized, and you can tell he's just got a huge frame. So, you know, it's really hard to stand next to somebody like me that's 5'7" and packed full of muscle when you look like a string bean, and that's what's going to happen to him this weekend because there's some other guys that have a lot of muscle.
For sure. Yeah, he's got like the really strong delts. But yeah, like you said, the legs are a little bit behind. And I think if he can fill out his physique a little bit more, because he has been able to gain a fair bit of muscle, then he could be one of those sort of like freaky guys that brings crazy conditioning, but has a good amount of size and a big structure. Because I think he is slightly taller as well. And the last guy we'll discuss is Tim Budesheim. And sorry about all the other guys if there's some contenders in those names as well, but just didn't have the time to sort of get around and look at all of them. But Tim Budesheim, I've been a fan of this guy's physique for a fair few years now. His midsection's a little bit thicker than I'd say it used to be, but I really do like his balance. He sort of reminds me a little bit of like a Ronnie Rockell type in some ways as well, the way he hits his certain shots. Nathan, you said, Tim, this is him 8 days out. Do you think that he'll, like you said, you think he'll be probably second or top 2 or whatever?
I think we're fighting for Vlad.
Yeah.
Him and Vlad, 1 and 2. Obviously, like either way, I'll win anyway because I like both of the guys. You know, they're both cool. Physique wise, Tim's a little bit more pleasing than Vlad, but then again, Vlad will outmuscle him. You can't say that they'll both outcondition each other because they're both fucking crazy Europeans who just come in peeled as fuck anyway. So, you know, condition wise, I'll see them on the same level. You know, you see Tim's never let the side down for condition. But I think it'll come down to between him and Vlad, and whether they want a nice pleasing physique or they want a big fucking bulky thing like Vlad. It's different. You know, it's different. It's different. You know, it's apples and oranges in it, whatever you prefer. But it's gonna be close. It's not gonna be a walkover for Tim, even though he's a lot more known than Vlad. Vlad's gonna give him a hard time.
Yeah, for sure. No, I totally agree. What's your thoughts, Martin?
Honestly, Tim's my pick to win this one, man. I think he's super impressive, and I think his advantage over Vlad, like Nathan said, is his shape. And when he hits poses, there's not a spot on him that's missing muscle. I feel like Vlad has about 2 poses or 3 poses that I feel like you could say, he needs a little bit more muscle there because he's so big as a human. Whereas Tim, if any knock on him, it'd be like, you know, this body part can be bigger, but it's not lacking. So I think he's very well-rounded. He's good at posing. He's going to be peeled, which, like Nathan said, I'm not sure that'll really be a determining factor over Vlad or Andre Pressy, in my opinion, my top 3, because I just see all 3 of them being very, very conditioned. Yeah. But he does have the German skin texture that I don't see on Vlad. Vlad has similar texture, but I feel like Tim's is a little bit grainier and a little bit harder. So I think that maybe that would play an advantage to him. I'm very excited to see him, man. I'm actually a big fan of Tim. I like his physique a lot. And I think it'd be awesome to see him win. So really, it'll be cool to see this show. And like you said, I mean, there's really like 5 guys that could kind of win it. So it'll be cool to see who's the top dog, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Is this in the Arlington Metroflex here, Martin?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's cool. That's obviously where you're training right now. But yes, let's go through it. Let's bring up the competitors list. I'll give my predictions first, even though I'm sort of doing this on the fly as well. In first place, I'm going to predict Vlad. I think that he's probably just going to be too big overall, even for Tim. I think that while Tim might have a slightly more pleasing shape, I think Vlad is just going to be so wide across the shoulders and so big and comparable conditioning wise, like you said, Martin, that I think Vlad will get this win. In second place, I'm actually going to change it up a little bit from you guys. I'm going to put Andre Pressy in second. I just think that his structure will look really good. We know he's in condition. He's probably slightly more of a safe bet, I guess I'd say. Then I'll say Tim Budesheim in third place. Huge fan of Tim. I hope he even does better than this and potentially wins this show. And then I'll say I'll put Andrea Muzzi in fourth place. I think that he'll do pretty well in this show and look pretty damn good. And then I'll say Peter Clancy in 5th, and I don't think that I'm missing any real big names. Martin, what's your top sort of 5 predictions if you've able to get that?
Yeah. So I got Tim winning, like I said, just structurally sound, condition gonna be on point, and he's just gonna be a little bit more well-rounded than Vlad. I see Vlad in second, and it's gonna be a dogfight. Like it's gonna be 1 or 2 points. And then Andre Pressy in third. And then actually I'm gonna give Peter the benefit of the doubt here. I think he shows up a little bit. He's been dieting for a long time, so either his physique is gonna get better or he's gonna absolutely bomb it here. So I'd like to see him in fourth there, and then I think that we see Muncie from the other Andre from Italy finish out that 5th place spot.
Cool. Nathan, who have you got in your top 5?
I'll go Vlad first, Tim second. I'll go Pretzi third, Munzie 4th, Clancy 5th.
Nice. We've all got similar sort of ideas, just in different order, basically all of us. So we'll revisit this. I remember, Martin, I've got to go check out our predictions for the other show that we predicted, Orlando, because we actually had Tonio Burton winning that one as well, which we can actually sort of touch on a little bit about Tonio as well. I was meant to mention that earlier because I thought he looked fantastic at that Orlando Pro, but actually placed 5th place. But I did actually hear from some people that were there. Some people said that he could have potentially challenged more for the win and been up in 2nd or 3rd or whatever as well. But yeah, I'll have to revisit that because we both predicted obviously him to win that show. Finished in 5th. Brett obviously predicted the correct winner in Hassan Mustafa, so he beat us out there for sure. But I want to discuss a little bit about Tonio Burton. I'll try to find my screen there down. But I want to discuss Tonio a little bit as well, just because his physique, he reminds me, like I've mentioned it before, like a little bit of like a Michael Lockett, Dexter Jackson sort of look in a way, and obviously not comparing him to Dexter's level, obviously at this stage, but just his level of density and maturity at his age, and the fact that he's just moved from 212s to open. What's your thoughts on him, Martin? Because I'm always really impressed when I see photos of Tonio going up.
Bro, this is one of the most impressive guys I've ever seen in person. I watched Tonio win his pro card at USA's 2019, and the only knock I had on him then was this guy can't pose for shit. It was the worst poser I'd ever seen, and he was probably could have been Mr. USA. That's how impressive his physique was. If he could have posed, he definitely would have been Mr. USA. So from that moment on, I've followed him very closely, and I think he's an awesome bodybuilder, man. It was a perfect move for him to go to open. He's only he's 225 in this video right here.
Yeah.
So this dude has all the potential in the world. He goes and puts on 10 more pounds, and he actually gets in shape. This time he was close at Orlando, but I still don't think they nailed it. You're going to have to be disgusting peeled if you want to be a winner. But outside of that, man, this dude has everything that, like, I could see this guy being a Mr. Olympia. He puts it all together, honestly.
Yeah, he's got, I don't know how tall he is. I know he's not the tallest guy. He looks to me on stage to be about 5'6" or so.
Yeah, he's 5'6", 5'5".
Yeah. Yeah. So he's not tall, but he's 225 being, 5'5", 5'6". It's a pretty decent, weight to be at that, with having, a pretty tight waist and obviously, round belly and quads. What's your thoughts, Nathan?
I like him. I just think he's short, isn't he? He's a bit too short. If he gets next to a guy who's got the same, density and thickness, even like with Hassan the other day, it's going to show. Do you know what I mean? Just because of the sheer height. But I follow myself, just the sheer thickness and shit. The guy's freaky. I can see what you're saying about the Dexter image and stuff, and how you there from the midsection going through to the arms. You can see that straight away. I don't know. It's just the guy's just fucking short. And that's it. What else can you say? He wasn't in shape on the weekend. He wasn't in shape. I seen the pictures. Obviously, pictures don't tell the whole story, but if you're getting pictures of everyone, then obviously it's fair. I just felt like his legs were still soft, you know, with a few pounds out. You know, that's the only knock I had. But sure, he can sure win a few shows, a few qualifiers for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let's move on. Let's do a few listener questions before we wrap this show up. I'll go to YouTube
it's late,
now.
bro. You logged in late. It's fucking late.
Yeah, I know. We'll just do a couple.
Late, man. It's fucking midnight.
We'll do them for what, 10, 15 minutes?
Go on, I don't mind.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. So first question is from Bethany Rideout on YouTube. She says, fuck, marry, kill, pre-workout energy drinks or coffee. Love the channel. So Nathan, you go first.
I don't take any.
Don't do any of them?
No. Don't do coffee. I do pre-workout now and then. Yeah, I'm also got one. So I use one now and then. But I just don't get much off them.
Yeah.
Off the energy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather have an intra-workout shake than, you know, some of the pre-workouts you get now fucking make you feel rattling and shit, and you feel, you know what I mean? We have one, they're also called Kamikaze. It's a pre-workout pump. I'd rather use that than fucking anything else.
Yeah, for sure. So you pretty much marry pre-workouts and then fucking kill the other two.
Yeah, that's it.
Martin, what about you?
So it's coffee, what? Pre-workout and what?
And energy drinks.
Oh, and energy drinks. Okay, so I'm definitely gonna marry coffee. Like I can't live without coffee. That's my favorite thing. So I drink 4 shots of espresso first thing when I wake up every morning. And then I have a coffee pot that's on all the time, and I generally drink coffee all throughout the day. So definitely gonna marry coffee. Pre-workout, I guess it depends. I mean, if it's a stim one, that's not really my thing. I don't really do those, so I guess I would kill pre-workout. But if it's a pump product, then opposite, I would definitely want to fuck it and kill energy drinks, because I don't really do energy drinks that much. I do like Red Bull, but outside of that, I don't really like the energy drinks very much. Ghost, shout out to them. They've been fucking killing it with their flavors. But I just drink for the taste, not because they give you energy.
I'm the same.
Yeah, so I would kill the energy drinks. I guess if it's pre-workout, if it's a pump product, I'm fucking it. If otherwise, I'm not really into it. And then I'm marrying coffee.
Man, I love the way you said, yeah, I'd probably fuck it. Something like that. That's hilarious. I don't know what I do, because lately, like, because I haven't really been training much, moved across the country, all that sort of stuff. I don't know if I mentioned it on my podcast, but I think I did. I drove 40 hours from one side of Australia to the other. And because I fucked it up so bad with like wrapping, because we had literally our whole lives, you know, a trailer plus a Ranger where the whole back of it was covered, you know what I mean, in all our shit. So I had the bright idea of basically wrapping it in pallet wrap, then, you know, putting straps on, pallet wrap, all that sort of stuff. We drove, like, got an hour into it, it's all fucking ripping off everywhere. And we had 2 nights planned to stay in a place called Adelaide. I don't know if you guys know much about Australia. And then also we're staying right on the border of Western Australia and South Australia, you know, just basically in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, we didn't stay any nights. We'd basically drove the whole way over. So I was literally stimmed to the max. So every servo we'd stop at, it was just energy drinks. I found some old like fat burners that had caffeine in it and just smash them over the whole way over. And I wrecked myself, man. Like I was, for weeks afterwards, I was just exhausted, like just feeling like, fuck, I'd wake up in the morning and be like, I'm fucked. I'm just so wrecked. So stims can definitely fuck you up. But Martin, you said you drink coffee basically all day. How much coffee do you actually drink? Like how much caffeine would you have over a day?
You know, I mean, it depends. Obviously, as I get tired, I start taking in more coffee. But I do try to like be conservative. I probably I don't know what the 4 shots of espresso in the morning is for coffee. That's a shitload of caffeine probably right off the bat.
Do you do four shots straight away?
Yeah. So I have an espresso maker at the house that makes espresso right there. So I pack it myself, make 4 shots. I make 2 shots with fresh coffee, and then I run the same amount of water through that coffee again. So it's probably not like as psycho those second shots, but they're still strong.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't drink it without putting a little bit of sweetener in there. You're gonna fucking feel your hair grow.
Yeah.
But and then the pot of coffee I make, if I make one that day, it'll be 6 to 8 cups. And if I drink the whole thing, like I was going hard that day. So I would probably say anywhere from I probably take in 600 milligrams of caffeine or 500 milligrams of caffeine just
I think
from
it'd be
coffee.
even more, man. Like if it's 6 to 8 cups, like each one has about 90 in it. You reckon?
Oh, I thought a cup had like 50. So yeah, man,
No.
if each cup has like 90, then for sure I take in like close to a gram.
I'll check it out. I'll go caffeine in a cup of coffee. See what it says. Because I'm pretty sure it's up near 100 normally. What does it say?
How big's your cup?
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
so. How much caffeine in it? Yeah, he says 95 milligrams in standard cup of coffee. Yeah, I think it's about 90 or so. So you man, you're having like a gram of caffeine a day or something.
So that's and like I said, I don't make the pot of coffee every single day. But yeah, no, I mean on those days, then I probably do somewhat like that. But
Does it increase through your prep?
Espresso is always on, no matter what.
Does it increase through your prep, like the caffeine intake?
A little bit. Like I said, like today I've been drinking coffee all day. Probably like 2-3 weeks ago, I was barely making the pot of coffee.
Yeah.
So it definitely increases. And on lower days, mostly I drink coffee when I'm hungry. So that probably increases the intake as well. So I would say like on a regular day from the just espressos, 300 to 400 grams of caffeine, milligrams of caffeine, not grams. That would be fucking terrible.
You would die.
Yeah, milligrams. And then on a rough day or a day when I drink more, it's probably like a gram to gram and a half, I guess.
Yeah, that's massive. I did have one friend who told me how much he was drinking. He said, I said, how many cups of coffee do you have a day? And he's like 6, 7, 8, something like that. I'm like, that's a lot. Then I was like, do you have pre-workout as well? He's like, yeah, that one has, I normally 1.5 scoop that. So I'm like, that's 450. But then he's like, oh, I'm taking this fat burner as well. So that's another 400 and something. I'm like, whoa, you're up to like around 2 grams of caffeine a day. And he was telling me that he was just absolutely fucked. His body was just shutting down, feeling terrible. And I was just like, well, you've got your answer. You've been doing that for a year or 6 months or whatever it was. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. And especially when people take, have huge amounts of coffee and then obviously do the pre-workouts and all the other stuff. And then they might drink energy drinks as well. And it's like, they're so heavily stimulated. Their CNS, not their CNS, their adrenals and everything are just like suffering and just in overdrive. So I definitely understand why people have a lot of these like fatigue syndromes and stuff now. That's for sure.
I've had moments like that, and I've had to like cut coffee out for a couple months to like, because there was a point in time where if I didn't drink coffee consistently throughout the day, I would get headaches.
Yeah, you get withdrawals, man. Like I actually got sick weeks ago. I got COVID again, and I just cut caffeine out because I was still keeping it up after that trip because I felt just wrecked if I didn't drink it, which isn't obviously a good thing. And I got sick, and I said I've got the most intense headaches though. Like I wasn't too bad after a few days. And then I realized it was actually caffeine withdrawal because I went and had a coffee and the headache just went away. I was like, oh, okay. It's literally withdrawals. So it can be very mild compared to like a drug withdrawal, but it's still you get nasty ass headaches. Next question. This is from Milisav Jovic. It says, when you're backstage, what's the best way to stay warm? Last show I did, I was cold. I was so cold. I literally couldn't get a cold. I mean, must have said couldn't get hot. It doesn't help being 2% body fat either. 2% would be pretty extreme. Says, love what you do, Xavier. So, Nathan, do you have any issues with getting cold backstage?
Nah, bro, the Olympia's fucking freezing backstage as well. But now I just fucking backstage, I just go to sleep. When they say 10 minutes, then I just start my shit. Besides then, look, fucking clothes on. Just stay warm, innit? It's like stay dressed. Unless you're one of them fucking idiots who walk around, like the bikini girls who walk around with the fucking asses out, posing for everyone. And then they're always wondering, oh, why are you looking at me? Bitch, because your ass is out. Unless you're one of them, fucking stay dressed, stay warm. Common fucking sense. Pump up in your clothes. When they say 10 minutes, get your shit off, get your stroke, your oil on and whatever, and then go on stage. But I guess my guy must be one of them. Just fucking look at me. I'm shredded, 2% body fat. I bet that 2% needs a fucking O at the end as well, doesn't it? More than likely.
I'll say 20%. I'll say one thing. When I was natural and competing, back when I was a teenager or whatever, I would actually have this issue because, you know, being white and pasty, back in, obviously being in Australia too, you know, dream tan was a big thing. So you'd slap the dream tan on, and I'd always be over cautious with what time they'd say it'd be on stage. So if they said, you know, it's going to be an hour, I'm like, oh, what happens if it was half an hour? I get paranoid. So I'd always want to get ready early, you know, like it'd be super early. And often there's still like half an hour, an hour.
That's a rookie mistake, bro.
That's
a rookie mistake.
I had one contest where I was pumping up for almost 3 hours because it was like, they're like, oh,
your name's Xavier, so you're fucking last anyway.
Well, I don't know if it works like that. I think it's whoever signs up first a lot of the time over here. I don't know.
Last. Most times it's by name, right? By fucking name.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm always D. I'm at Dexter all the time. D.
Pro, it is.
What's that?
Is it?
I think in the pros it's by alphabet, but I think in the amateurs it's like who signs up, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, even so though, if you're unlikely, unfortunately, you're gonna be the first person to get out higher. So just fucking when you see someone panicking, looking back, okay, cool, get your shit up and start doing it.
Well, yeah, you're so much more relaxed than me.
I barely pump anyway because you ain't gonna fucking grow, are you? You
know
what I mean? Take your chocolate bar, do a few little bands, a little bit of that. You ain't going nowhere. You either got it or you're going home, mate.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's it.
I did notice, obviously, since, you know, when you compete, when you're actually on something as well, you do stay a lot warmer. And you guys, obviously, being as muscular as you are, you obviously are going to stay a bit warmer as well because your body just has to work harder to maintain that amount of muscle, you know? Like, that's why you see so many pros, especially in your off-season, they're not even doing anything. They're sitting around eating food. You eat a meal and you start breaking a massive sweat. So, yeah, I think that obviously being a smaller guy, less muscle, obviously low body fat, being natural backstage, you're probably going to get maybe a little bit chilly. But Martin, do you ever have this issue?
I mean, yeah, every bodybuilder has this issue, man. When you're shredded, you're going to get cold. But like Nathan said, stay covered up. One of the big things that you'll really can pay attention or notice is wear slides. Make sure that your feet aren't on the cold concrete. That's really one place that you lose a lot of heat from your body. The other place is your head. So, I mean, if you're really cold, wear a stocking cap and your slides. Make sure that your feet are warm or even have socks on. I mean, the judges don't give a fuck if you're tan on your feet's all fucked up.
Yeah.
So, you know, make your feet warm, make your head warm, you know, and those times that you don't have your clothes on, like when you're getting oiled up and stuff, if you need those things and you're freezing, then put a stocking cap on and cover your feet up. But realistically, the building needs to be that cold because otherwise when you got to posing and you get to the fucking rounds, when you're fighting in the dog fight, you're going to be melting like a fucking ice cream cone. You don't want that either. So, you know, I mean, think about it like that and be appreciative that the promoter's taking that into consideration and doesn't want you looking like a sloppy piece of shit on stage, you know, and melting your tan off. So you take those into consideration, know that. And then also, like I said, you know, just there's little things, but at the end of the day, when you're shredded, you're going to be cold. Get over it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next question. Which one? Okay, I don't know if you guys want to answer this or not, but it says Deca versus NPP. Any reasons you guys like one over the other? Good versus bad experience. Would be my first time using either compound. So obviously we can't make any recommendations or anything like that. And I actually did up a disclaimer and I'm going to put it at the start of this episode as well. But Martin, do you have any preference there or want to answer that one?
I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail, I guess, but yeah, I mean, I've ran both. I think both have their benefits. They're both going to make you strong. Realistically, one is just less water retentive than the other. Both of them are something I would say the biggest thing is you need to pay attention to your blood pressure with these. And you also need to pay attention to your health, your mental health. Both of these are things that I noticed depression on. And I'm not a super depressive person, so I can kind of notice when these things hit a little harder and kind of drag you down. And these were both two that I noticed, Deca more than NPP. And then I guess last but not least is also like this can give you Deca dick. So know that. know that going in that you could have sexual performance issues. They can be fixed with anti-progesterones and things like that, but then you're getting into a whole nother realm of different side effects and different drugs that you have to take for that too. So you know, there's a lot to be dug into this, and obviously you guys want to know as much as you can about drugs, but you really got to do your research on your own too, and know these compounds inside and out before you ever run anything.
Nathan, do you have any preference, or have you used either or both?
I use both, bro. I don't give a fuck. Usually not. I normally run MPP first, and I run Deca straight into it, just because MPP is a faster acting drug. So it would be on cycle with MPP. Like Mark said, it's for strength, but for me, I don't really use for strength. More for water retention. Strength, I just fucking use Tren. But you know, you can, like Mark said, you can get Deca Dick. I personally never had it. I know a few people who have.
I have,
but I think that could come down to your age or shit. I don't know. I don't know whether you need a new missus or a bit of strange to get that shit back together. I don't know. Well, I've never suffered with it. But yeah, man, like Martin said, be careful, be cautious with it. Personally, I prefer MPP than Deca. And I'll probably use it probably fucking 10 weeks of the year. That's it.
Yeah. I was actually I remember once, because I'm very, very prone to Deca Dick. It just literally, like, you go over 200 milligrams and then it just not completely dies, but you get these like little half-assed ones that really you can only entertain yourself with. So I remember once the only thing I could get was Prami. So I couldn't get Caber or anything like that, because obviously that's a what's called a progesterone. Oh no, what's called a dopamine agonist. And trying that, and some of the side effects, I don't know if either of you guys have used Prami before, but it's a very weird drug because it can make you nauseous, especially if you just go to basically the dose that you want to get up to. And I saw someone actually said on the forum, they're like, I was taking Prami, I was leaning over the toilet vomiting, and I had the most irrational boner I've ever had in my life, because like it will basically just do the complete opposite. So I remember using it and I was like, I want to get up to this dosage, and I was actually just dating someone. It was very early days, and I was like, fuck, and she was coming over that night, and I was like, I'll just up the dosage, like, you know, because I was going up, you know, 0.1 of a meal every day, or a little bit less than that, and it was all right. I feel a little bit of nausea, but I'd be sweet. And then I was like, I'll just up it, you know, 0.3, up to 0.3. And I just remember that night she's rubbing my stomach, and I'm going, oh, fuck, I'm so sick. I'm so sick. So obviously nothing was happening.
Just get in the Viagra, bro. Just get in the Viagra.
What's that?
Just get in the Viagra. Be easier. Fucking easier, bro. Be fucking easier.
Yeah, I just remember that. I was just so sick. I'm just like, well, fuck, I'm not having sex anyway. But
well, just suck your dick.
Oh yeah, I should have just told.
Get down there.
It was too early days to be probably that impolite, I'd say, but
it's never too early after the first date. Yeah,
just meet them. Next question is from Hacking Life on YouTube. Could you get Fouad on the podcast? I wouldn't have thought that was probably a likely chance. This is from Ann, so it's a female on YouTube. What is your most nostalgic childhood video game? Thanks, guys. Nathan, do you have any nostalgic video games from being a kid?
Didn't have a computer game, bro. So I was about fucking 12, 14.
Oh, really?
I played more Monopoly. I like Monopoly more than video games.
I love Monopoly.
Even now, I like Monopoly. It's fucking, one, I can rob the bank fucking easy as fuck anyway. And two, it's just fucking, it's more fun and more interactive. I'm a Monopoly fan. Even now, like the kids have PS5s and shit and Call of Duty and all that crap. We still be able to get on Monopoly and play Monopoly. I still always win. So for me, my childhood game was Monopoly. You
pretty much buy everything in Monopoly, don't you? Like when you land on something, you buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best way. That's the best way, bro. Just fucking, or just get someone you can just hustle, or be the banker. You know, fucking. Oh, I need a drink. Get a few £100, put it under there. You're flying.
Martin, you got any nostalgic video games from being a kid?
I mean, that's kind of funny that Nathan said that. I love board games, man. That was like a huge thing for our family at Christmas and those kind of things. So board games, I'll say Risk. That was my favorite as a kid. Risk. I always wanted. It's where you take over the world. So it's like you roll dice and you get individual countries and soldiers, and then you take over the world. So that was one that I fell in love with that one because I wanted to take over the world every time, and you have to be like really strategic about it to make it happen. So it's kind of cool, you know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Then I also always had video games. I mean, obviously I'm a little bit younger than Nathan. So first PlayStation, I had a PS1. I remember Crash Bandicoot really a lot. That was one of my favorite ones. And also Sonic was another one that I liked on the PS1. But I really didn't get like super into gaming until the PS2. And then I fell in love with Madden, and I played Madden all the way through until like my sophomore year of college. I was like notoriously known, even with like all my roommates and everybody that hung out with me in college, is like no one could beat me at Madden. Because I played every Madden like the day it came out. I would go buy it. So I'm a sports guy. So I always had the 2Ks and the Madden,
2K, man.
the boxing games. Like I even had the UFC games, I think. And then my dad was really into the Need for Speeds and the Gran Turismos. So I always had the car games as well to mess around with. But if you look through my collection, it's mostly like fighting games and sports games.
Yeah, same sort of vibe with me, man. Like I was actually talking to someone the other day, and look what I've got on my desk here.
Yes.
It's funny because I actually found out the other day because obviously moving, you've obviously got shit in boxes and stuff everywhere, and I found out a few games, but I've got Sonic Racing as well. I've like they're just the games that like, I think like when you get older, you just want to play those games that you don't have to put too much effort into, because it's like you get to an end of a hectic day. I don't want to get on there and play like a hectic shooting game. And I was actually talking to someone where I've never been that into shooting games because I get so like on edge and hyped up and like, you know, just that low level of anxiety. Like someone shoots you, go, oh fuck, and then like I'm so reactionary.
Yeah. Bro, I get asked all the time. I get messages all the time. Should I go on this thing called Twitch? I'm like, no. Every time I fucking sign up to a new PlayStation account, I get bored. Yeah, I get blocked all the time. Going to the kids, I'll fucking kill you, you fucking fat cunt. I'll shag your man and all that. I'll shag your fucking mum. And I just get blocked off for being inappropriate. I just like these kids now play the game. Like the next minute you're on there, boom, you're dead. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, nah, I can't play that, mate.
They're too good, man. They're too good.
That's funny. Yeah, so I'm like that too a little bit, and I'm like super competitive. So like if I do it, then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna play this thing for like 4 hours until I'm good. I'm gonna make sure I'm good. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna like when I'm playing online, I'm like, I better have a kill to death ratio that's like in the positive. So I can't play games like that. But it's funny that that Crash thing, dude. I bought a Nintendo Switch for when I travel. And I have like Smash Bros and Super Mario and a couple of those like old nostalgic Nintendo games. Bro, that thing is like my favorite thing ever. I got Mario Kart on there. When I fly, it's so nice to just get your mind off things. Like when we flew over to London and Sweden, and you're on them long ass flights and you wake up in the middle and you're like, damn, what am I gonna do? That made it go by so much faster, bro.
Yeah, man, it's a bit of a de-stressor because I haven't played video games much in years. Just having kids, all that sort of stuff, like really does, like, you know, your free times, or a lot of your free time sort of, you know, dwindles away a little bit. So you don't have as much time to go, oh, what am I going to do? I'll go play video games. But I've sort of gotten into it a little bit at night, just to been like, okay, half an hour or whatever, or 15, 20 minutes or something like that. I just bought like the F1 game because I've been watching that Drive to Survive on Netflix. Have either of you guys seen that?
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
It's fucking sick. I love it, man. I just love all the drama and seeing the cars and like just everything about it. Like Daniel Ricciardo, obviously being an Aussie as well, like he sort of just doesn't give a shit, mouths off. Like I like him. But yeah, I bought the F1 game because I was like, oh, gotta play it a little bit.
Hard,
but man,
they're hard.
They're real hard. I had a little bit of bud the other night and played it, and it was so tense because you go so fast on the circuits. But I was literally like this, and I'm driving, and I finished like one of the races. I was like, fuck, my neck is jacked up just from being so tense because it's like, you know, you're going so fast in them. And like I had the, what do you call it, like the cockpit view, and yeah, it was ridiculous, and it's so hard. Like, and as soon as you crash too, you're out. So I bought like Gran Turismo as well, so at least I can crash a bit and not be too stressed about it.
Yeah, Gran Turismo was sick. That was my dad's. I get the other one that's like that sticks in my head now that you say that's Grand Theft Auto, man. I had all of those. Those were the best.
Do you know what my thing was? I never had enough patience to keep doing the what do you call them, like the tasks or whatever on those games. Like, yeah, missions. That's it. Yeah, I'd always get like 29% or 28% of the game done. I'm like, fuck, I'll just go around, shoot a bunch of cops, then hide out and do all that sort of stuff.
Once you got enough money to do stuff, you were done with doing the missions.
Yeah, I actually got to mention.
Beat them.
What's that?
I usually ended up beating them.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I had mates that did that, and I was just like, I'm like, they get to 100%, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm at 22. But yeah, probably nostalgic video games. I didn't even mention that, but my dad first bought me what's called Sega Mega Drive 2, I think it was called.
Mega Drive.
Yeah, so he got me into the racing games and stuff on that. So I had one called Road Rash, which was like a motorbike game. You'd get like nunchucks and you'd kick people off their bikes and all that sort of stuff. So that one was cool. Trying to think what other games. I never really got into the
on your Sega.
What's that?
The one with the gun. Did you have the Duck Hunter?
No, I didn't have that. I didn't have it, but I remember playing that at like, you know, like game arcades and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
I love that one too.
Yeah, so I more got into the race car games because that's just what my dad bought me pretty much. So I was like, sweet, I'll roll with that. And like the rally games and all that sort of stuff, I like those. I actually tried to buy rally games the other day down here because I moved to Tasmania, so it's obviously a smaller place. And there's literally like trying to find the dirt games because they're meant to be like the best rally games. They were sold out everywhere, man. Like even the pre-owned games in these video game stores, they're just gone. So I was like, oh well. But I'll pull up the next question. We'll answer one or two more, and we'll let you get going, Nathan, because it's after midnight where you are.
Okay.
There's another fuck, marry, kill, but this is exercises: hack squat, pendulum squat, and Smith machine squat. Nathan, you go.
Who's first?
You go, Nathan.
My hack squat. Fuck the pendulum. And just fucking kill the machine squat. I hate it.
Yep. I'm exactly the same way. Literally exactly what I was thinking. What about you, Martin?
So I flip-flopped the last two. So I'd marry hack. I would fuck Smith machine squats, and then I would kill pendulum. I like the pendulum, but it always gives me patella pain. It doesn't matter which pendulum it is. For some reason, maybe it's because I go too deep and I'm stretching my patella out on all of them because they all have that ability to.
Yeah.
And I have like unbelievable ankle mobility, so maybe that's what it is.
I'm the same way, bro. I've never understood people that don't have good ankle mobility.
Yeah, so I really love the pendulum. I think it's a really good piece of equipment. The Arsenal one is I've done 7 plates on the thing for like 13 reps or something like that. So like it's a good movement, but I never seem to get as much knee pain from hacks and Smith machine squats. Smith machine squats, because I have good ankle mobility, I can put my feet like straight underneath of me and just make my quads feel like they're gonna rip.
Yeah.
I actually really, really like Smith machine squats, but it has to be on a good Smith machine. It can't be angled all fucked up and all that bullshit. It definitely has to be a good Smith machine. And then it feels almost like doing a hack squat for me. So I really like both of those movements.
It's funny you mentioned that thing about the Smith machine not being on a weird angle. Like the gym I was training at when I was in Perth, like just before I left, the Smith machine was like on this sort of an angle, and it's like fuck, like, it's such a pain.
Incline, right? It's called Atlantis Incline Smith. Shit. Yeah.
It's just too angled.
Yeah.
Garbage. But moving on, we'll go on to the Instagram and do quick fire on a few questions. This is from King Manalit. Totally pronouncing his last name wrong. He says, what do you feel about the backlash / feedback on the first episode? We sort of mentioned that already, but what did you think about it, Martin?
Fuck it. Honestly, you're gonna get that from anything. There's always gonna be people that don't like us. I mean, every one of us bodybuilders on here probably has a 20 or 30 haters that are gonna hate us no matter how good we do or how bad we do, and somebody's always gonna have something to say. So you know, let them say something. Hopefully they make comments and share our shit and talk about how much we suck, and let other people watch and realize that we're not. So not too worried about
Yeah, do you know what happens? Like when you see some people, when you've actually got good content and people talk shit, you know, they don't watch it, they just get on there and be like, oh, you know, they you know, a lot of these people were people that love Fouad's podcast, and I understand it, man, because I listen to it, and so I totally understand them, you know, feeling like, you know, they know Fouad really well and all those guys and all that sort of stuff, and some of us used to be with hostile, so it you know, instantly we're the enemies. So I totally get it, but sometimes I was actually thinking about it, and it's probably a lot of the comments are coming from kids that are like 15 years old. So to think about it, if you have a 15-year-old come up to you and go, your podcast shit, you just go, ha, and just walk off. You wouldn't give a shit. You know what I mean? But because it's your own name, and you think, oh, it's all these people. Sometimes I think that's why people can feel overwhelmed. But if we really saw these people in front of us and they were talking shit and be like, you've got no, you know, no business sort of saying
I wouldn't say shit
in person. So it's one of those things where it's a lot of the time it might be 20, 30 people total, and you've got 10,000 people that listen to the episode. So you've only got 30 people that feel compelled enough to be, you know, negative and put that stuff out there. And probably not even that, to be honest. It's probably only 20 people, 15 or something, because we got a lot of positive comments. And honestly, like for me, when I first started this YouTube thing and things started to take off a little bit, I got very, what would you call it? Very, I mean, I wouldn't be necessarily upset about one certain comment, but when you read enough negative comments of people saying things, you start to go, oh, is my content shit? Is this, you know, am I doing the right thing? Should I not do it? And that can lead to sort of anxieties and all that sort of stuff. But now I've sort of been able to rationalize it and go, okay, but once you get enough of it, you become numb to it and you just see it and just go, or like if someone's clever with it, I actually like laugh, and I'll always respond to people generally pretty nicely, unless they're saying something really, really messed up. Then I always respond to people nicely. And I've actually got comments back from people almost changing their tune completely, being like, oh bro, I was just kidding, like love the channel, blah blah. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's cool that they're actually able to say, and I've actually even had some people say sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so harsh and stuff. I'm like, well, that's cool, they're at least able to recognize it. And I think sometimes you just kill them with kindness, and they you know, but honestly I don't even care anymore whatsoever. So yeah, it doesn't bother me, and just all the good comments are encouraging. Next question is from Justin Wyatt 24 on Instagram. It says, favorite single piece of equipment ever used. Nathan, you'd be a good one for this one, obviously owning a gym.
Bro, depends. It's hard because it depends on, I like certain machines, certain body parts.
Yeah.
But fuck.
I'll tell you what I like. I don't even know which one it was, but there was a seated dip, which basically, I don't know what brand it was. I don't even think it was a big brand, where it was almost like it just had balls on the end where you put your wrists or hands. And
Arsenal.
Yeah, probably was that. And you just push down.
I know all of them, bro. I know all of them.
And I think a lot of it's about where you're pushing through as well, because I would always push through sort of like this part of my like wrist hand. I wouldn't grab it and push through my hand. I'd be pushing right through sort of that part of my hand there, and then it'll just put all that tension straight onto your tricep. And it's almost like through the whole movement, the tricep is just locked in, which a lot of time on dips, people sort of don't get that feeling. So I absolutely love that one.
I think, thinking about it, my best two would, my best one, I'm talking hard, isn't it? My best one, I say two, would be the Panata upright decline press, and then also the Magnum row.
What's the Magnum row?
The one where like the handle like that.
Back equipment in the world, right there.
Oh yeah,
yeah, bro. The one that Phil keeps on the magazine, on the Muscular Development magazine, and everyone, like 2 years ago, everyone thought it was shit. It was an old machine. It was garbage. It was shit. And you were selling them for like $900 in the US. What? And then obviously, people, yeah, bro. I got mine from Texas for $800.
Bro.
I paid.
Wow.
No, sorry, $600, and I paid £1,100 to get it shipped off some guy's
that's a hands down best back piece in the world.
And now one guy offered me fucking mine's pin select as well, offered me like $4,500 for it. But years ago, everyone's like, oh, it's shit. and now certain people use it. Oh, it's fucking good.
Yeah.
The price is now fucking rocketed.
Yeah.
And what? The guy messaged me who bought off eBay. You fancy selling that back? I was like, nope. I was like, no, man, I'll keep that. But if you see it in my gym, if no one knows the brand, I take all the branding off. So no copies. Ideas.
Yeah, that's cool. What's your favorite bit of equipment, Martin?
Shit, man. I mean, I'm like Nathan. I got a piece for like every body part that I really like. So I guess I could try to run through them quick, but Cybex first generation hack is my favorite leg piece of equipment. It's heavy as fuck. It's super steep. It's steeper than 45. I love it. That's the best leg equipment, and their first generation leg press is probably the best as well. Back piece of equipment, Magnum Row, hands down, no question. Not even an option for that. Shoulders, it's made by Cybex as well. I don't know what generation is. It's like 5th or 6th probably. But you put your knees in it, you kneel in it, and you put your chest against the pad, and it's a lateral raise machine. Fucking wild.
Eagle. It's called Cybex Eagle side lateral raise.
Cybex Eagle, that's what it is. Yep.
Got that in my gym.
That motherfucker is awesome for lateral delts.
Yeah, Matt Jensen showed me that. Jensen showed me that in Tennessee, and then fucking all of a sudden I was hunting for it for ages, and then I just found that bad boy. I paid like $1,500 US for it. Just kept that.
Yeah. Hell yeah, that's a good one. Then chest Prime makes really great shit, man. I don't really have a favorite chest piece of equipment. I like everything, but Prime does a really good job, as well as Arsenal does a good job on some of their stuff. Arsenal's isn't as heavy though as I think it should be, some of their chest equipment. But as far as that goes, man, like I said, every body part really has a favorite piece. There's no piece that's my favorite.
Yeah, we'll bust out 2 more quick questions. We'll do quick fire on these ones. This one is from Trevor Beck 06. Says, should teens compete or take time to maximize the amount of mass they can put on before they can really make some damage? I'll just quickly answer this one as well. I'll give my opinion. For me, I competed, it was 5 days after my 17th birthday. And I thought it was actually beneficial me competing as a teen then. I ended up winning as out of 5 guys or whatever. And for me, I feel like I learned a lot about my body doing it that young. Like obviously being in the gym more when you're younger and not actually dieting down, will be beneficial to gaining muscle, but I feel like I got a nice rebound out of it. So I don't think it really slowed down progress that much. And I sort of learned, I think just even realizing that, you can manipulate your body that way, that in 12 weeks you can go from being, that to that. It's like, it sort of blows your mind and makes you realize how important, I suppose, like your food choices and everything you do outside of a gym is to competing. But Nathan, what's your thoughts on teens competing?
Yeah, I think it's good, get out your system young. Think if you want to do it, you can start early, and then obviously if you start early and you realize it's fucking a load of shit, you've got out your system, you know what I mean? So I think it's good to try early, see if it's something you want to do. And obviously, if it is something you want to do, then you can progress at a faster rate. If I could do it again, I compete as a teen. And then if I liked it, I enjoyed it, okay, back off. And then, come back as an adult at 22 or something, and then have that perception to where like I knew what I was getting myself in for. I wanted it. And then then what the judges expect and what you expect of yourself. Yeah,
for sure. Martin, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that there's benefits on both sides of this. I'm just going to give quick and dirty, but I think teens competing, I think it's awesome, man. I think for one, you're going to learn, like you said, millions of things about your body. And 2, you're going to learn that you're probably under eating. So all those years that you think you're gaining so much size, while you're 16, 17, 18, 19, and you think you're training so hard and gaining so much size by not competing, you're probably under eating and not really gaining that much size anyways. Now you might be gaining strength and density, which is in turn going to make you gain size over time, which is great. But you could do that with powerlifting in your off seasons. You can do lots of things to be able to do those things. Now in the opposite, I would say that I did not compete as a teen, but I was eating enough and pushing my body to the point at which I felt like I pretty much could have competed at any time as a bodybuilder. And because I had those factors, I feel like once I did compete at 20 years old, I was ready to fucking slap faces. So there's a double-edged sword there, right? I think, like I said, there's benefits to both, and you kind of got to decide what you want to do. I had other goals and things that were keeping me from competing. Otherwise, I probably would have competed as a team.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. We'll wrap it up there because I know Nathan's getting towards 12:30 in the middle of the night there for you, man. And we've got plenty of questions, and we're actually going to be doing a show as well, which we might release a few days after we actually record it with Urs Kalasinski. And
don't try it, bro. Don't try it.
What's that? Don't try it.
Don't try. Just say yours.
The miracle bear.
Man, I cannot wait to have him on. He's a charismatic dude. So if anyone has any questions for Urs or however you say his name, post it in the comments below. And yeah, cannot wait for that episode. Obviously, hopefully he's able to jump on and get on that episode, and it will definitely be a good one. So and we've also got more questions as well. So we'll be basically answering some more of these questions because I think we got through maybe half of them or close to half of them. So we'll have a few more there to answer for you guys. So anyway, that's it for this episode. For myself, Xavier Wills, Martin Fitzwater, and Nathan D. Asha, we are out.